viewers and subscribers, welcome back to Beating the Press podcast. I am your host, Rafa. Now, coming up in this evening's podcast is all about the EPL. The first week of the EPL season is now behind us. And again, a number of shock surprises were thrown up over the weekend. Now, joining me this evening to review these matches and to talk some EPL football, we have returning to the podcast, Christoph.
Good to be back, viewers.
Christoph, the EPL season is up and running, and the excitement does not stop. It continues. I mean, a number of interesting results over the weekend, but we'll kick things off, Christoph, over there at Hull City. That seemed to be the result which caught the attention of the masses. Hull City, the promoted team Hull City, running away 2-0 winners over the mighty Manchester United, a team many persons thought would have hit the ground running versus a newly promoted team. Talk to us about that game, Christoph. Was that a shock for you, or did you see that upset coming?
Yeah, definitely a shock because I know I predicted Man United being big winners in that game. I really didn't expect much from the promoted teams, definitely on opening weekend, but a number of shocks were thrown up. I expected, Man U and Carrick to probably carry on from last season, but shocking defeat, and it kind of has me wondering, now that the World Cup is gone, now that players have signed new contracts, is it back to default for Manchester United players?
Too early, Christoph. Too early.
No, yeah, it is too early, so it's like I'm just wondering. I don't know, just wondering.
Early days, early days, early days for sure. But what I would say though is that Hull looked deserved winners. It wasn't a fluke. It wasn't own goals. It wasn't Manchester United giving away gifts. It was a team effort which Hull earned, and they were value for the result. In all honesty, they played an excellent game and took their chances when it came their way. Two excellently taken goals, two goals coming off set pieces. And it showed the vulnerability of Manchester United from the jump. And United really had no answers. Of course, the whole goalkeeper came up with a number of good saves, but their rear guard was not breached. So it's all positive for Hull, to be honest, after this first game. Clean sheet, 3 points in the bag, taking care of business at home. What can does this result, Christoph, tells us what we may be expecting from a Hull, or is it too early to say after just one game, in all honesty?
It is indeed too early to say, but it could be an indicator of what's to come. Too early to say, could be an indicator.
Interesting. And Manchester United, what changes does United need to make, Christoph? The transfer market is still open. Do they need to go shopping in order to bolster that squad for the long haul?
Uh, I think one of the things that Manchester United probably needs, they do need to go shopping and bring in some players. I see talks of them bringing in Baleba. Um, but what I think Man United need is definitely competition in certain key areas. Certain players' positions are kind of set in stone, kind of undroppable. You need to bring in competition for those players so their performance doesn't drop. They don't get lazy. Somebody like a Bruno Fernandes. Again, to me, no idea why they gave Harry Maguire a new contract. Yes, he played well, but you've been complaining about him for years and wanting to get rid of him. His contract was running down. You could have allowed him to leave. Now you have to continue paying him a big salary. We don't know if the performances are going to be what we got at the tail end of last season, or we're going back to what was you could say was the Harry Maguire default before. But like I said, these Manchester United players, anytime a new contract needs to be signed, again, it was new contract needs to be signed for some players as well as trying to get picked for World Cup squads. They always perform. The worry for Michael Carrick is, are they going back to their default setting? They have nothing
Yeah,
to play for.
I mean, that rear guard, Christoph, the defenders have been there from the days of Ten Hag.
Right.
It's the same backline that Ten Hag had that is still present in that Manchester United squad. I'm not sure if that is a defensive backline that's gonna take you and sustain you and challenge for titles at this point in time, in all honesty. I mean, you may finish again in the top four, but it's probably going to be more difficult this time around. If I would say the transfer market is still open, players can still be brought in, and as you say, the squad depth can be improved. But that's definitely a concern. From this first game, that is definitely a concern. But ah, credit to Hull, definitely credit to Hull, and they are off to a good start. Aston Villa, Christoph. Aston Villa got a beating by Brighton. I mean, we spoke about it in the preview show, but I was not expecting Brighton to take Aston Villa apart so easily. Talk to us about that game, Christoph. Well, what's what is Emery has Emery left himself too short in terms of all the transfers going out from Aston Villa?
Um, Definitely a very, very shocking result. I'm not necessarily sure that all of this is potentially Emery's fault. A bigger club come calling for some of these player, bigger salaries, better potential for Champions League football, you know, or maybe it's a case where ownership has decided to cash in on some of these players. Not sure.
I think
The
Emery is the
window,
one
the
pulling all the tricks, Christoph. I mean, 4-0, but I think it's Emery that is green lighting these transfers out, in all honesty. I don't think it's the ownership really dictating to Emery. I think Emery is dictating to the ownership. And I mean, in one sense, I can't blame him because why keep players around that's one, not probably not good enough, or two, doesn't want to be there. I say sell if the player doesn't want to be there and bring in players to freshen up the squad. But I just think with all the outgoings and incomings, he just did not have enough time to get this team fully prepared for the opening game. We may see an improvement going forward, but this was definitely a demolition job by Brighton, in all honesty.
Um, if I recall, Aston Villa did start last season rather slow. They had a hard time scoring goals and breaking down teams until they kind of switched their tactics and they were trying, what I call low percentage chances that, they ended up converting into goals.
Right,
And
right.
it worked a lot. And we saw, I think they were the first team to beat Arsenal last season. Maybe something like that will have to happen, but there are still there's still what 1 week left in the transfer window. If then the squad is shot, no, now is the time that they have to dip into the market and get as many players and cover as they need.
Yeah,
If
for
they go
sure. Because I
if they
even
go
think
into the
that
season like
Wat
this, it might be a
Watkins is
problem.
out. Yeah, Watkins is being linked with a move away as well. So they need a goal scorer. They definitely need a striker, number nine. Where will they get it from? That is the big question. And as we know, it's an inflated market these days. If you want quality, you're gonna have to pay the big money for it.
Yeah, Watkins definitely looks like he's out. I think he's been left out of their Champions League squad already. So definitely something to look at for Aston Villa, question mark.
I am very concerned, to be honest. I am very, very concerned for Aston Villa. I mean, not so many years ago, Aston Villa was relegated to the championship, Christoph. So it's not without concern we speak. We saw the likes of a Tottenham barely escaping relegation last season.
Two
And the
seasons in a
team,
row.
right, the teams coming up have been spending, have been investing. So it is not beyond the realm of possibility that one of these big name established team may very well be relegated. I mean, we saw West Ham last season. They have gone down to the championship. There is no guarantee that they will immediately bounce back. So I am very concerned for Aston Villa. We definitely have to keep a close eye on what's going on over there for sure. Liverpool, Christoph. Liverpool versus Newcastle. That game going down to a 2-2 exciting draw. I mean, a little controversy there at the end of that one. Was it a deserved penalty, Christoph? I'll come to you on that as a man who is always bashing and calling out the referees. Did the refs get it right when they called a penalty for Liverpool in the dying moments of that game?
Uh, Before we talk about that, I It's just the first match of the season, so I don't want to be too harsh on Liverpool. Uh, Newcastle have had a number of players go, so
Right.
for Liverpool to be drawing with a, let's say, a depleted Liverpool side, Newcastle
Newcastle.
team, it's a big question mark already over the season.
Well, I'm not sure if I would agree that the Newcastle team was depleted. Yes, yes, what I would agree on is that yes, a number of big name signings have gone out. Gimares, Tonali, well, Isak from last season. Gordon has gone to Barcelona as well. So that you could say that's 4 or 5 big name players that would have normally be starting in this team. But when you look at what Newcastle rolled out, you can't scoff at it. The likes of Ila, you know, so Whistler, he was another signing from last season that
Yeah, but
probably very
I mean,
underwhelmed. So it was
the,
still a quality team, Christoph, I would say.
a lot of these Newcastle signings did very much underwhelm last season. So we're underwhelming last season. Maybe
So
they
it's
needed
two teams of
they
underwhelming signings that met on Sunday, it seems.
see the difference between Newcastle and Liverpool, in my opinion, is Liverpool spent half a billion on marquee signings, Florian Wirtz, Isak, and so on.
True, true,
So
true.
more was potentially expected of Liverpool having come off of winning the league. So
A lot of teams this season, Christoph, will go to Newcastle and will come under immense pressure. The crowd, Christoph, if you it was a cauldron, to be honest. So for a Liverpool fan, I am grateful for that point in all honesty, having gone down twice and come back and hold out for a draw. It was a cauldron of pressure. I mean, the likes of Isak, he was under the cosh from the jump from the fans, Christoph. So he had a poor game.
when you
You know,
well we talk about people will pay whatever they want to pay to sign a player, but the price tag will still affect the type of performances that the management expects from you, the fans expect from you. So to me, no player is £150 million player unless you are a prime Cristiano Ronaldo,
but
prime Messi.
£100 now has become the new marker,
No,
in all honesty.
no, I'm saying same thing. Same, it's the same thing. No player in football is worth 100 million. You need to be Cristiano Ronaldo numbers, Messi numbers, Henry numbers, R9 numbers, uh,
Salah numbers.
Salah, Prime Wayne Rooney, Zlatan. That is the bracket that I would put 100 million player in. So
Right?
right
So
now,
you're looking
I
at
don't think there is a player in football except maybe Haaland or Mbappe who I would consider as 100 million player.
so what's the measure? Is it a player who is gonna give you 20 plus goal contribution for the season,
If it's a striker
right?
for a
Or
hundred
an
million,
attacking player, or an attacking player. So
it,
pretty much most teams now play with like a front three. So if
most
your front three player is giving you 20 plus goal and assist combined for the season, do they fall into that 100 million category is the question.
not
What's the number? You
necessarily.
have to put a number on it. We
No,
can't just be talking this player's not worth
it's
X
not
or this player's not.
it's
What's
not
the benchmark?
it's not just the number because you all right say a
But
person so hold on, sorry so let's take Verts let's say
right,
this season Verts puts up 20 plus 20 let's say 20 goal contributors this season, right? But none of those were against big teams. Does Verts, let's assume he's coming from a place of valuation of
define
zero.
big team.
No,
Define
no,
there.
hold on. No.
Define
Let's
big
say,
team.
yeah, we're gonna define that, Charlie. Let's say he's coming. Let's pretend versus a new player coming from a valuation of let's say zero. If he puts up 20 goal contributions this season, but all of them were against smaller clubs than Liverpool, not the big team, not against Arsenal, not against Man U, not
Top
against Man
six.
City.
Traditional top
The
six.
top six are, Liverpool is also in Europe. None of them come against the big European teams or even in the Champions League. All right. He puts up 20 goal contribution. Does that automatically make him a £100 million player?
You're asking me?
he is anonymous in these big games, is what
Well,
I'm
I
saying.
mean,
Is he
yes,
still a hundred
yes,
million pound
yes.
player?
In my
Yeah?
opinion, yes. Because when you look around the league, a number of big name players who are in that 100 million
No,
bracket.
we are pretending it's in a vacuum. Those things don't
Oh, well,
exist.
yes, I would
That's why
still.
that's why I said we're starting from
If
zero.
a player is giving me 20 plus goal contribution, regardless of the opponent, I believe in the current market, he jumps into that 100 million bracket.
Okay. Well, that's how you value it. That I don't value it like that. 20 you can give me 20 goal contributions and then none of them you're not putting in a performance in
But
these
would you
big
rather take a
matches.
player who is not giving you that? Would you rather, all right, Vert is giving you 20 plus against what you classify as lesser teams? What if another player is giving you half of that? Who are
Mm.
you going to bring into your team?
It depends what my team needs.
Well, I'm saying he needs an attacking
Hold on.
player like a Vert. You need an attacking mid.
Let's say let's say this other attacking midfielder, right,
Right?
is doing 10 GA for the season.
Yes, 10.
But that 10 GA is coming against big teams. He is dominant in those big games. I would prefer to have that player.
Well, that's why you have different coaches, indeed, and different philosophies, and different coaches get different things out of the same set of players. So it's a difference in opinion, but for sure, going back to the Newcastle Liverpool game, I mean, a 1-1 draw for Liverpool coming from where they're coming on
2-2
the back
draw.
of that, right, a 2-2 draw. I'll take the point. It's not the worst. It's not the worst result in the world. It gives you something to build on. It gives you a platform to go forward. So, not the best result, not what I was anticipating or even predicted, but a point. You may look back at the end of the season and say, yes, this was a good point when you compare that result to probably other results and other teams that may visit Newcastle this season. Newcastle is no walkover at St. James's Park, is the point I'm making. And this was a massive game for Liverpool and they came away with a point. So I'll take the point and brush off and move on, to be honest. But for sure, lots to do. Luckily, the transfer window is still open, so hopefully Liverpool can splash some more cash and bring in at least 3 to 4 more players, Christoph, to give them a chance of competing at the upper end of the table. But speaking of upper end of the table, Arsenal, Christoph, they were the team to lead us off. That game came on Friday, and it was what you would classify as a routine win over Coventry City. What did we see from Arsenal? Did anything stand out, or were there any players that you had to raise your eyebrows for, Christoph? Or this was just a routine win expected from the champions versus a newly promoted team?
Um, I'm sure there are people who will come up with different analysis and say why it was a really good performance, and they'll say how Arsenal dominated Coventry and whatever. Uh, to me, there are a couple of things. Coventry is a newly promoted team. Arsenal are the champions. You would expect them to be levels above Coventry, which is what we saw. Coventry, to me, it looked probably like Frank Lampard got the tactics wrong in this game. Um, a lot of teams, and I've said it for the last couple of seasons, teams who try to outplay Arsenal 90% of the time are going to lose, which is why Arsenal faces so many low blocks because team realize that they can frustrate them and then try and play on the counter. Most teams, 90% of teams in the league, are not going to outplay Arsenal and win. So if you play like that, you are going to lose. So you have to come with either your team is going to come and have a really special day, a really, really good game, or you come with a tactic to nullify what Arsenal do. If you don't do that, you're going to lose.
Mhm. So you're
There was,
saying
to
Lampard
me,
got the tactics wrong then?
Lampard got the tactics wrong. I don't think Arsenal personally did anything great in that game. It was a routine performance and a routine win, what you would expect of the champions versus a newly promoted team.
So nothing to raise any concern, any eyebrows, just a normal run-of-the-mill game expected team in front of you, get the 3 points, move on to the next, is pretty much what you're saying. No
Right.
alarm bells, continue building, continue improving. Again, we mentioned transfer window is still open, Christoph. Is there any plans for Arsenal to strengthen? And or where would that strengthening be needed? I mean, since our last conversation, we saw Arsenal signing Konza, a man who can play centre back as well as right back. Saliba seemed to be a long-term absentee due to injury, so probably a replacement was needed. So that position have been shored up. Is there any other area of the Arsenal team that may need some shoring up? Bringing in another body or shipping out someone?
Well, Arsenal have a number of players who have come back from lo loans and exiles or whatever. Some of those do need to get shipped out. It looks to me like Arsenal is looking to sell Martinelli. I would not sell him. But obviously, if they sell him, they do need to bring in another left winger again who will back up Zolis on the left. Or if that winger coming is going to be your first choice, or rotate, you're going to rotate them based on opponent. Um,
So a left winger
there
then.
a left winger. If Martinelli goes, then you're bringing a left winger.
If he
Um,
so what if he doesn't goes?
if he doesn't go, your left wing is fine. You have two
Okay,
players
okay,
who
okay,
can
okay.
play on the left, and you have some other players who can play out there in the event either both of them are injured.
But your decision would be to keep Martinelli, is what
My,
you're saying.
I think they should keep Martinelli. Again, I said it. People look at
But
somebody
what's
like
the reasoning? Why would you keep Martinelli? Give us the rationale for keeping Martinelli.
people are saying, let's take Liverpool for example, are looking at Bradley Barcola to bring in. Bradley
Right.
Barcola has been 100 million is what I think PSG are asking or whatever.
All right, in
Ma,
excess
ma,
of 100 million,
in
a
excess
hundred million plus.
in excess of 100 million.
You're probably looking at maybe
Martinelli
120.
Martinelli basically put up the same numbers as Barcola last season.
So why is Barcola worth 120 and Martinelli is probably not worth half of that?
I don't know. I don't know where people are getting it. It could be because PSG won the Champions League. Could be.
So you're saying if you were to be buying Barcola, you're saying he's not good value for money.
I
It's better you probably buy Martinelli at a cheaper cost and get the same production, is what you're saying.
you would get the same production and potentially more than what Arsenal got out of him because you are probably going to play to his strengths. Like I
Right,
said,
right, right.
Martin, if Arteta changes how he asks what he asks of Martinelli, he will get more out of him, or even use him as a second half player to come on when teams are tired, use up that pace, get more goals. But the, these coaches, they have systems and they don't want to break away from them for whatever reason, even if a player, skill set is better suited for doing something else.
Indeed, indeed. We'll definitely have to keep an eye and see what transpire before the transfer deadline. But another team, Christoph, that got a big scare, but managed to come from behind was that of Man City. A new coach, new players, a lot of moving parts over there at Man City in terms of incomings and outgoings. Maraska, the man taking charge. Bournemouth got the early lead, Christoph. But Man City rallied and they rallied back and eventually got a 2-1 victory. What did we make of this Man City performance? Are we seeing a dip in Man City? Are you expecting a dip in terms of their performance, seeing that Pep now is out, a manager that has been there for 9 years? And we've seen numerous examples before when a long-term manager has been at a club and he leaves, then there is a significant fall off. And many teams fail to recover from that. We saw that with Manchester United when Sir Alex left. We saw that with Arsenal when Wenger left. We even saw that with Liverpool when Klopp left. Even though, Slot did come in and win that title, we saw the fall off thereafter. Will Man City follow a similar trend is the question, Christoph.
Um,
Or
Man
is it
City
too
could
early?
It's a little too early to say, but Man City could fall into that category if the key players that have left over the last 2, 3 seasons and this transfer window are not adequately replaced is when you see that
Well,
fall
how are
off
you
again.
gonna replace a Ballon d'Or winner, Christoph? How are you gonna replace the quality of a Bernardo Silva?
Well, you
How?
you can
How?
replace you can replace a Ballon d'Or winner with another Ballon d'Or winner, but
All
it
right. So tell us who should
oh
Man
I
City
no
bring in then?
I don't know who Manchester
But
should
that's what
bring
I'm
in, but
saying.
but
I don't see
they
it.
spent 116 million on a defensive midfielder, so I'm
Right.
expecting 116 million performances from this midfielder.
I don't see it. I don't see it happening. I do not see it happening, to be honest. I don't want it. It's a bit early, but the signing of Anderson Christoph. I don't know if you remember this player called Calvin Phillips
Calvin
when he
Phillips,
starred for Leeds and then Man City went and signed him,
and he got injured in his very first game, if I recall.
and he just never got into Pep's line of thought. It's a bit early, but I'm not sure. The signing of Anderson remind me of that signing. I'm not calling it yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if what Man City is looking for from Anderson, he just doesn't live up to that expectation. He just doesn't live up to that price tag, in all honesty. So, early days, 3 points in the bag, which was the objective for sure. The performance, I wasn't impressed, to be honest. But early days, improvements. The transfer market is still open. There have been close linkages with Enzo Fernandez, Christoph, from Chelsea as a potential target. And we see a number of players also going in the opposite direction. The latest I heard was that Gonzalez, a defensive midfielder who Pep had brought in, he is now off to Newcastle. And also, uh, there was another attacking player, Marmoush. He is being closely linked to Tottenham, I believe, as well. And
Um, I
also the
I believe
Brazilian Silvinho, he is
Savinho.
off to Tottenham.
I believe Tottenham are looking to sign both Savinho and Marmoush. I think Savinho was already signed
Yeah,
by Tottenham, right?
Savinho was signed, but I think
Right.
close links to Marmoush possibly could get it over the line before deadline day. So lots of moving parts, as I said, for Man City. Lots of moving parts, incomings and outgoings. But 3 points in the bag, but a performance that I personally was not satisfied with. Man City looked a shadow of themselves. The team selection, I'm not sure about that. A number of defenders playing in midfield and, a lot of rotation.
The team selection
I'm not
was
sure.
definitely a very very big surprise. I don't know if Mariska thought he was Pep, because only Pep gets away with that type of selection. Um, I don't know.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was
I just say early
definitely
days,
a
early days. Yeah, for
strange.
sure. I don't think it's Man City's best 11. I think you may see a completely different team rolling out in the next game. Lessons should have been learned from this. And this was an early escape for Man City early in the season. But another big upset, Christoph, what I would classify as an upset after spending millions in the transfer market. Spurs going down 3-0 losers, going down to Brentford. Brentford running away 3-0 winners at home, Christoph. Spurs, what are your thoughts on what you saw from Spurs? And
Ah,
subsequently what you saw from Brentford as well. Another season of Brentford being underestimated, and they have made Spurs pay in the most emphatic of fashion.
um, for Spurs, shocking result. Um, I don't know if they should sound the alarm as yet,
Too
but
early, man. Too early. It's just the
but
first game of the season.
definitely shocking after spending 400 million and with more signings to come, which would take them to probably over half a billion. Um, Definitely shocking result. Like I said, Brentford. I underestimated Brentford.
I'll pause here, Christoph, to say again, it's something I have preached from the jump. Money doesn't play football. Yes, money do get the players in, but you have to go and the game is played on the field. So a player who is worth 100 million, a player who's worth 10 million can outwork him, can outplay him on the field. And to me, that is exactly what Brentford did in this game. Brentford played as a team, while it seemed as if Spurs was just a group of individuals this point in time. You know, it's gonna take time for those group of players to gel, to come together as a unit, as a team, Christoph. De Zerbi probably still doesn't know his best 11 at this point. Brentford is a settled team. They know each other, strengths, weaknesses. They play as a unit and they have hit the ground running. Last season, Brentford was underestimated in terms of a lot of persons had them probably battling it out in the relegation zone. This time around, I'm not sure if persons will see them that way, but I don't think people see them as a fancied team, Christoph. I don't think Brentford is a team which drives fear into anyone, but they have quietly been getting the results to the point where they nearly finished in a Champions League position last season, Christoph. They were not very far away.
I believe this was last season was Brentford's most successful season ever and their highest finish ever.
And that is coming off them losing their coach to Tottenham and a new coach taking over. So, it will be interesting to see how they go this time around. Keith Andrews is the man in charge for a second season. So I'll be keeping a close eye on them. But an emphatic win, a deserved win for sure, and Spurs has gone back to the drawing board very early. And as I said, more incoming. So it may very well take a few weeks for us to see the best of Spurs and see what this team looks like once the transfer window is slammed shut and De Zerbi is putting forward what he classified as his best 11. But a lot of work to be done over there at Spurs indeed. Not very impressive from Spurs, but I was definitely impressed by Brentford, Christoph. Then we also had Everton, Crystal. Everton running away 2-0 winners over Crystal Palace. Are the alarms bell ringing for Crystal Palace, Christoph?
No, no. I think I had expected probably a draw in that game. But it's not a result to get alarmed about. It's one of those where you just have to pick yourself up and then carry on. Next week, I don't think it's alarm bells yet. I think if you probably drop points in the next two games, then Crystal Palace probably needs to rethink strategy.
Mhm. I'm not so sure to be honest. Crystal Palace is one of those teams I think may very well be drawn into the bottom half of the table, to be honest with you. They lost their coach and they have lost and couple key players. Lacroix, he's after Chelsea. He was one of their key defenders. Gay mid-season went to Man City. And one of their attackers now, Sar, I am hearing he is being linked with a move away as well. If they were to lose him and not bring in a replacement, I'm not sure where they get their goals from, to be honest with you. So they are a team that one should keep a close eye on. Maybe the alarm bells aren't ringing as yet, but they definitely need some positive results going forward. So yeah. And then of course today, Christoph, today was another exciting game. Chelsea versus Fulham, Christoph, and it was Chelsea who ran away winners in that one. They won that game 3 games to 2. I had called a Chelsea win, but it was not 3-2. I believe I had predicted a 1-0 win for Chelsea. It was a 1-0 margin, but it came in the form of 3-2. That man Cole Palmer, Christoph, coming up big with a goal and an assist. Same from the likes of a Joe Pedro. And the new signing, the $116 million man, I believe, Morgan Rogers. He also got among the scorers, Christoph. What were your thoughts on that Chelsea performance?
Well, given how much money Chelsea has been spending on signing over the years, it's about time, some of them actually started to play some dividends. Uh, you would expect coming into this game for Chelsea to win. Kind of like with the Tottenham game, with the amount of money they've spent on transfers and so on. So I wasn't particularly impressed. I mean, we know we don't know as yet if the same adage will work. You know, you stop Cole Palmer, you stop Chelsea, but clearly Cole
Early
Palmer
days.
played clearly he played a role in two goals.
Yeah,
So
definitely. Perhaps
going
potentially
forward, you
man
know,
of the match performance, I would say.
I mean, he probably got man of the match. Go on my headphone.
Yeah, he was a key man to be honest in that performance. And the standout on the Fulham team, I must say I have to give credit, was this youngster, 19-year-old King. He played, it looked as if like a right wing role for Fulham. He came up with a goal and was instrumental in the attacks I saw going forward from Fulham. So he may be a very good prospect to look at for the future, Christoph King. Uh, Interesting talent there. He was running circles around the Chelsea defenders in the first half, and he kept Fulham in the game to a large extent. But it was Chelsea. Chelsea looked as if they would win that game while watching it, and they did end up winning the game. I mean, not without a few scares, but they did enough to get the 3 points. So it's a good start for Xabi Alonso over there at Chelsea. Not so good a start for his compatriot Arbeloa at Fulham, but interesting times ahead. Too early to call, but you always want to start the season off on a positive foot. And so said, so done. That was the case with Chelsea. So, yeah, for sure. But Christoph, we're quickly running out of time. Are there any final thoughts from you as it relates to what you saw in the EPL this season? Any quick final thoughts?
It was an interesting opening weekend. A lot of heartbreak for some of these, you know, big teams in the very first week. I really wonder if it's a sign of how the season will go, where we'll have a lot of upsets, and you know that would make for a very exciting Premier League this season. Uh, the Liverpool penalty, I'm not sure. It was very soft. I don't know if it was a penalty or not.
Clear
It
cut.
was given. I'm going to let that one slide because I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. It felt soft. It felt like potentially if it was not a top six team, it might not have been given to me.
Interesting times ahead then, Christoph. Early days, first game of the season. It's in the books now, and we look forward to the next set of upcoming games. You know, some teams have to go back to the drawing boards, while other teams have something positive to build on, but the excitement continues. And again, Christoph, just to add to the point you made earlier, with so many new managers coming into the league, there is still a lot of unknowns. And as you say, it makes for interesting reading. It makes the league very much very unpredictable at this point in time. But we'll be here, viewers and subscribers, to bring it to you. Thanks again, Christoph, for coming on board and sharing your thoughts and your opinions. Viewers, subscribers, thank you for continuing to support the podcast. Tell us what you think. Leave your comments in the comment section. And of course, if you haven't subscribed as yet, hit that subscription bell. But until next time, this is Rafa signing off.